Hi, Tom Freiberg from both Water and Wastewater International Magazine and Waste Management World, coming to you from IFAT Entsorga here in Munich, Germany. I'm joined by Eugen Egetenmeir, who is from Messe Munchen, behind the event here. Eugen, thanks for joining us here today, and good to see you. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
For the viewers who aren't really aware of sort of the story behind the show and the IFAT Entsorga partnership, perhaps you could give us a brief sort of history behind that, please.
Yeah. Well, actually, as you may know, Entsorga was staged in Cologne till autumn last year. However, the industry decided to better move the show from Cologne to Munich. I think the reason is very simple. IFAT had developed, especially in this decade, to a very international show, increasing numbers of exhibitors, increasing numbers of visitors as well, and also with a growing strong international impact from edition to edition. And as the industry, of course, is looking for export, Germany has mainly export industry, so they made the decision to better move to Munich.
Okay, and we're seeing more and more sort of conferences and exhibitions gearing up, especially in the environmental sector. How is your attendance looking so far this week? I mean, we're halfway through. Figures as what you're expecting?
Yeah. Well, usually we are very conservative people and we used to count the attendees at the end of the show. However, what I can see already as a kind of tendency is that we for sure will get further more increase, especially of international participation here. Maybe not from the local market, but from the international markets, I guess.
And do you have a specific number to date on sort of the 3 days that have just passed?
Not by today, as I said before. We used to count at the end of the show. That is our policy, not only with this show, but with all our shows.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine. And in terms of expected business activity, I was at the Singapore International Water Week, and last year I think they did over 3 billion Singapore dollars. What sort of number do you expect to be reaching by the end of the week in terms of new contracts and partnerships? Do you have an estimation?
No. Figures like that are normally not disclosed by the companies here, by the exhibitors. I do not know how other shows get such kind of figures. Normally this is business behind closed doors, signing contracts and also the value of contracts. But what we can see here is there's a lot of networking, there's a lot of real business, obviously. What I hear from the exhibitors, they welcome delegations actually from all over the world, not only from Europe, but also from Eastern Europe, for instance, also from the Middle East, from India, even from overseas. We also have joint pavilions from your region, from Canada, for instance. And so it's a very intense feeling of networking and of negotiation, what you will see here on the show.
Absolutely. And in terms of the sort of content of the event and the conference, what are the key themes we're seeing here this week?
Various key themes. Of course, climate change is an issue, and especially how, let me say, the water industry can contribute to reduce, let me say, CO2 emissions, for instance. We know, of course, sewage plants, there are emissions of CO2. So what they do now is that they include a power plant, the sewage plant, so they use the gas to make electricity. So they also save natural resources. And I think that's also a trend with solid waste. You see, solid waste, the raw materials are limited worldwide. So the secondary raw materials, I mean from waste, they are more and more important and also more valuable. And so this is a very important issue. And I mean, what is left after recycling all the secondary raw materials, they use it for thermal plants in order to produce electricity again.
So we're seeing more sort of partnerships between individual industries coming
Yes.
together. And obviously, the show is an ideal platform for that.
That's
And
true.
finally, Eugen, how do you see this show, IFAT Entsorga, tying in with other events in both water and waste? We have Polytech coming up later in the year, the World Water Forum in 2012, as well as the Singapore International Water Week and many others on waste. How do you see this fitting in and maybe overlapping and working with other events?
Well, actually, you cannot avoid that shows from, let me say, from a worldwide perspective are overlapping. I think what we see here is that IFAT, who changed the cycle from a 3-year cycle to a 2-year cycle, and now will be held in the even years, that this change of cycle, however, was not only accepted but even welcomed by the industry. I mean, I think this is evidenced by the increasing figures of exhibitors at the show. The show is covering more space even. It's covering the whole venue here, and so it's accepted by the industry.
Excellent. Well, thanks for your time here today, Eugen, and we wish you the best of luck for the remaining couple of days at the show.
Yeah, I hope that we will finish the show right to the beginning of the October Beer Festival.
It's a great way to end, right?
Okay. Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
your time
much.
today. Cheers.
See you.